Here you go with the ice barrier. Hello ladies and germs, welcome back to another Zane-Destiny review. This time is a little bit of a late review on the Freezing Trains Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure deck. So I understand I'm a little bit late to the party, but hey ho, I've been busy and this is the first chance I got. So having a quick look at the back, this is to do with the Ice Barrier monsters, which I don't know when they're released. The only one I really know is Trishula. And luckily Trishula is packed up in this pack. So if we take a quick rundown of the buyer of the structure deck, I guess we can call it. Let's try and do an epic voice. As winter? No. Right. As winter grows colder, the icy prison cannot withhold the growing storm within, and the return of Trishula is nigh. The synchro monsters of the ice barrier break free in structure deck freezing chains. The ice barrier strategy puts the freeze on opposing strategies while preparing to finish them off with their incredible synchro monsters. Cue end, epic voice. That's so cringy. So it gives a preview of I believe most of these they look like either brand new cards or reprints, I don't know. And that's a preview of the mat. So I have, I'll discuss this once I'm opening it. So I already know what's inside it. I mean, it says on the back, but people have reviewed it. I've watched other people's reviews. And to tell the truth, when they announced this new structure deck, I wasn't too excited. I mean, to tell the truth, the past two structure decks, what is it, the Charmer structure deck and this one, I've not been excited about at all. But I wanted to get it because, well, it felt like something different, and it's kind of boring playing with like the same old cards all the time. So this is nice. I'll probably end up using it as a poster rather than a play mat, but it's still nice to have. I'm not going to lay it out because it'll just make too much noise. That's a structure deck with the advertisement on the back. Okay. And that's how you take plastic wrapping off. A lot of people have issues with that. Alright, let's get the boring bits out the way. So these are the advertisements for like dual links and things like that. I'm not going to spend too much time going through all these cards. I will try and give some of them nicknames because they seem kind of fun. Okay, first card. Revealer of the Ice Barrier. So I have bought 3 of these structure decks, so I am planning to either in this video or another video do like a £30, because I'm British, structure deck. Like, I wouldn't say strategy deck because this isn't much of a strategy, but you know what I mean. So Revealer, she's kind of like an important card to have in a deck, and she's a redhead, so that's already a plus for me. Speaker, so talking to wolfies or foxes. She's also another important for if you're building an ice barrier deck. I'm not going to read their effects because, well, we kind of have an idea already. Zoojin of the ice barrier. Wins over the ice barrier. I believe this is kind of like a monster reborn of the deck, but I think it's got a few of those to tell the truth. Oh, go straight to the synchros. Okay. Trishula, Zero, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Kind of like to me, it feels like a downgraded version of original Trish. DeLorean. He's going to be called DeLorean now. Brionac. Gungnir, and a nice looking Trishula. To be honest, I've got a few of the Dual Devastator boxes, so I have enough Trishula already. Bruce Wayne of the Ice Barrier. This guy, works well with Speaker. I'm aware of that. I have done some test hands on Yugi Pro, so this guy's definitely going to be in my budget deck. Buzzed. Or is it Blizzed? Oh, it's Blizzed. Oh my goodness. I thought it was Buzzed all this time. Well, he is now called Buzzed. Cryomancer. I have a few ideas for this guy. Richard Pryor. When I get to the deck building, I'll have more to talk about this guy. Defender of the Ice Barrier. Warlock of the Ice Barrier. Spellbreaker of the Ice Barrier. Strategist of the Ice Barrier. Dance Princess of the Ice Barrier. Daisojo of the Ice Barrier. General Raijo of the Ice Barrier. Medium of the Ice Barrier. Large of the Ice Barrier. General Guntala. General Grunard. There's a lot of generals in this, people. This doesn't fit, come on. But I'm sure there's a strategy involved with Gen X, but I don't know enough about Gen X to warrant using it. And Gen X Undying. Aqua Spirit. Duprog. Oh, this is my gripe with the deck. Okay, I'm just gonna go straight. So, I can't quite remember. Let me just do a quick read. So when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one frog monster from your deck to it. Okay, so when it's destroyed, it basically adds a frog monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of Dupe Frog. Ronan Toden isn't a frog, so it can't search this. I mean, this could be Ronan Toden could be special summoned by discarding or banishing a frog from the deck graveyard. Sorry, but it would have been nice if this could be sent to graveyard. Ronan Toden could be summoned or summoned from the graveyard. Yeah, so Ronan Toden can be summoned from your graveyard by banishing a toad from a frog monster from your graveyard. It's not ideal, but hey ho, that's what they've done. It would have been better if it was. I guess Ronan Toden would be too OP if he was a frog. Oh well. Fishbowl Launcher. He's pretty good for synchro plays. Oh my goodness. Moulin Glacier? Milan. Silent Angler. And now we're on to the spells. Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier. Magic Triangle of the Ice Barrier. Medallion of the Ice Barrier. Definitely a free of in all decks. All Ice Barrier decks, sorry. Mirror of the Ice Barrier. Salvage. Surface. Where art thou? Pointy Man of the Lotus. Fiendish Chain. Ice Barn. Wait. Oh, I never noticed. Is it Gagagigo or Gagagigo? He's actually got ice skates on. That's kind of cool. I like that. Mind Drain. Heavy Storm Duster. Crackdown. Terror of Trishula. Definitely going to use multiples of this card. So, initial quick review of the deck. Is it worth it? No, it's absolutely not worth it. If you wanted the Synchro Dragons, there's other ways to get them. A good way to get Trish is to get the Dual Devastator. I got a feeling Dual Devastator may have Gungnir and Brionac, but even if it doesn't, it's quite cheap to buy these Synchros other means. I think the only thing that's exclusive is Trishula Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier. And you could probably you can buy them individually cheaper than the cost of the structure deck. But to buy the structure deck, you're just buying it for either nostalgia reasons or you just want to play something different. And I want to play something different. And I have bought 3 of these. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch over and try and make a structure deck, or try and make a deck using 3 of these structure decks. Something budgety. So I'll be right back. See you in 1 second. Or more. Depends what comes first. Okay, we are back. I hope you enjoyed my little deck building thought process there. Before we get into the deck profile, we'll say right off the bat, unfortunately, Richard Pryor, or Pryor of the Ice Barrier, if it wasn't for his negative effect of if you use his special summon effect, you cannot special summon monsters of level 5 or higher. If it wasn't for that restriction, he would be a very nice card to have in the deck because his special summon himself effect isn't once per turn. I think if I were to do a upgraded version of this deck with not being restricted to using the three structured decks, I would definitely have him as a 2, possibly 3 of, because he is good for XYZ summoning and link summoning. But unfortunately, his restriction, I've had to cut him out completely. So sorry, Richard Pryor, but I've had to cut you out, I'm afraid. So, what sort of strategy was I thinking when I was building this deck? Well, I've probably gone a bit niche and probably out of the ordinary compared to what other people have done. But my main strategy of this was to have a board presence and to be as annoying as possible with monster effects and spell and trap card effects. And I am going to burp on camera because I am highly professional. Oh dear. Okay, so now to carry on. So my main strategy was get as many monsters on the field as possible using a mix of monster effects and spell cards, whilst trying to synchro summon as many synchro monsters as possible using different methods. So to start off with, let's go for our monsters. We're going to have 3 General Wayne of the Ice Barrier. So I would say this is mandatory of 3 because he's technically your Cyber Dragon of the deck. If you control an Ice Barrier and your opponent controls a monster, we'll go back to say that I would say this strategy is more of a going second deck ideally, but it could work going first. But if your opponent controls a monster and you control an Ice Barrier already on the field, you can special summon an out. And when you do special summon General Wayne, you can get 1 Ice Barrier spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which should normally be your Medallion of Ice Barrier. Oh, getting focus. Which would give you more opportunities for board presence. Because there's a number of monsters in this deck, mainly Ice Barrier monsters, that do allow you to special summon from hand. Of course, you're not restricted to Medallion. There's other spells and traps you can get into, which we'll get into later. Our next monster that I believe should be a 3 of is Revealer. She has an interesting effect. I'm mainly interested in her effect of discarding a card and special summon an Ice Barrier monster from your deck to your field. Normally, the target for that will be our 2 of Hexa Spirit of the Ice Barrier. This combination is kind of interesting. Of course, it's not unheard of, kind of everyone's talking about it. But this dude, you have to send an Ice Barrier monster from your deck to the graveyard and it becomes that level. If it gained that level, that'd be much better. But normally your target would be Zuijin of the Ice Barrier. And this basically becomes a level 2, level 6. I do have a level 6 synchro, actually. I think it's a couple of level 6 synchros, but that's already a synchro play and synchro play. And also Zuijin also has an effect to get himself back on the field, so you can easily synchro climb with a number of these monsters. And that's practically like a 1-card combo there. I mean, if you already had General Wayne out of the field, anything's possible. So it does get pretty intense. As I was going through the deck, I kind of had some, let's say, flashbacks to the, oh my goodness, is it Fury of the Deep structured deck? The one that Levia Dragon Daedalus came from. And in that deck was Gravity Bind and I think Level Limit Area B, which stopped all level 4 or higher monsters from attacking. I think that was it. But I kind of got that feeling from these 2 monsters. So I'm playing 3 of Cryomancer from the Ice Barrier, off the Ice Barrier, who basically has the effect of level 4 or higher monsters cannot attack cannot declare an attack. Of course, you need to control an ice barrier monster to do that, but with this deck, it should be reasonably easy to do that, especially when you also are able to get out Defender of the Ice Barrier, which has the effect of where you control monsters your opponent controls cannot declare an attack if their attack is greater or equal to the attack defense of this card. So his defense is 1600. Normally, most monsters averagely have that attack or higher, so that means none of your monsters can be attacked, which the way to get these two monsters out, Cryo and Defender, would be using a spell card that I would suggest later on. So these are kind of like your first initial disruption. So we got our synchro plays with Revealer, Hexer, and Zuijin, and now we got our first load of disruptions just to annoy our opponent, because my strategy is I want to annoy my opponent as much as possible, even if it's a mega strategy. Next card is Speaker of the Ice Barrier. I'm mainly just keeping this card at 2. I possibly would consider downgrading it to 1 because I am running a 45 card deck currently, and some cards you can easily cut out. I've mainly got her in here for board presence and her effect of to summon a token when she's sent to the graveyard. These next few cards are for more board presence. So we've got Medium of the Ice Barrier, General Gentala, and Fishborg Launcher. Fishborg's probably the best one out of the 3 because when he's synchro summon, you can special summon back onto the field, so you can technically synchro climb with him. These two, I kind of wanted different monsters on the field because it's nice to look at something different. But these two kind of serve the same purpose of relatively decent attack power, was also getting more monsters back on the field. Silent Angler is also for board presence, but you need to be careful with him because once you special summon him, that's it. You cannot special summon anymore. I will probably easily cut him out in this particular build, but again, if I go to upgraded deck, I probably will play him as possibly 2 or 3, just like prior. Even I complained about these next 2 monsters, Ronan Toden and Des Frog, just for the draw power and board presence again, and just to use as a draw mechanic 2 Buzzed, because once he's destroyed, you draw a card. So let's just get more cards in hand. Your next method of disruption would be General Raijo. So he just negates any discard 1 card. Effect and negate. No. Yeah, basically it's just a form of disruption, basically. So he kind of could work with the frogs by sending one of them to the graveyard to activate one of their effects to special summon from the graveyard, but yeah, he could be cut out if you're not interested. To tell the truth, there's a number of cards you can cut out. Again, it's a 45 card deck, which is a lot to some. Okay, now that we're done with our monster guys, it's time to move on to the spells and traps. Okay, so first 3 other spells would be the Winds over the Ice Barrier. Excuse me, I'm full of the burpee burps today. I probably won't be looking into using the second effect as much. Just a primary effect is special summon from the deck as many level 4 or lower. So these 3 cards are to help you get your Defender of the Ice Barrier and Cryomancer of the Ice Barrier out. So initially, my thought process is you'll try to do your synchro play. If it gets disrupted, you'll still have a few bodies on the board. So what you then could do is play Winds, get rid of all those Ice Barrier monsters, and special summon the level 4 or lowers, which would be your Defender and Cryo. So that could be a form of protection unless your opponent finds other ways to get rid of your monsters, which is very likely, but sometimes having a chance to stop an attack could maybe save you a turn to possibly try again for another synchro play later, which this deck is capable of doing. I have managed to do multiple synchro summons in a few test hands, which I probably won't do on camera because knowing me, it probably won't ever happen. Again, for more board presence, freezing chains of the ice barrier, just get more monsters on the field, and then 3 medallions of the ice barrier. Again, I want more bodies on the field. The more bodies I can get, the more I can actually do. I know this adds to your hand, but there are a number of monsters that are able to special summon from the hand to the field, so you've got enough opportunities. If you start losing monsters, I play 3 surface just to get some more bodies from the graveyard back into the field. Again, just more bodies. I want more bodies. And last but not least, just like General Raijo, you got another form of disruption with Mirror of the Ice Barrier, which has effects determining on the number of Ice Barrier monsters you got in the field. Again, the more the merrier. So that's my spell lineup. Next we get into a small number of traps. So I play 3 of Terra Trishula. So this may seem like a lot, but like I said, it's relatively easy to get enough synchro monsters out to activate all 3 effects. So it has effects dependent on a number of different named synchro monsters on the field. So it's nice to play 3 of, especially if it gets destroyed, which trap cards do easily get destroyed and they're especially slow. And other thorns of disruption, just because you're in a deck, I play 1 of each, Pointer of the Red Lotus, Heavy Storm Duster, and Crackdown. And that rounds up our trap lineup. We can get into the synchros, and you can probably tell we're playing a maximum of everything because you may as well. So 3 of Trishula, 0 Dragon of the Ice Barrier. With this guy, he is he's like a downgraded version of original Trish. Speaking of original Trish, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, the only issue is if you special summon Trish using 0 Trish's effect, because original Trish wasn't properly synchro summoned, his effect does not go off, which isn't very ideal, but I guess it might get you out of sticky situations. But ideally, I would try to summon Trish using regular methods if possible. Moving on, we got 3 Brionic, 3 Gungnir, and 1 DeLorean. I know it's DeLorean or whatever, but I like to say DeLorean. Yeah, of course, you may as well play as many as you got because you got as many as you got. I think I will attempt a quick combo video, so if you'd like to stick around for that, feel free to, but if not, thanks for watching. I hope you disliked the video. But for those that are staying, enjoy the pathetic combos. See you in a second. Okay, welcome back to the possibly gonna go wrong combo video. So from what I understand, well, our strategy is to get the synchro monsters out as much as possible, as quick as possible. So with the level count, we've got 2 level 6s, 1 level 7, 1 level 9, and 1 level 10. Well, 1 of each. Of course, you've got multiple copies of different ones for different plays, but these are the main numbers we're aiming for. So what I was planning to do is to try and demonstrate of how we can try and get these monsters out as quickly as possible. The only thing is with this current deck setup, it is very dependent on what kind of cards you have in your hand, which is why there's a few cards I've played multiples of, even if it does seem slightly counterproductive. But the main basic strategy that you can always go for, that the old reliable, let's say, is Summon Revealer. Discard 1 card from your hand in order to special summon a tuner, which would usually be your Hexer. And then you use your Hexer's abilities in order to send an Ice Barrier monster to the graveyard. In this case, I would normally go for a Zurjan, but you've got a number of different monsters to go for depending on your situation. But you send Zurjan to the graveyard, and now Hexer becomes level 2. You've now got a level 4 and a level 2 tuner, and you've got a choice of either your I need to stop saying DeLorean, DeLorean, or your Brionic. So these will kind of be your go-tos. DeLorean's only one. Of course, you've got three Brianna to go for. So that's kind of your first strategy. And also, Zurgen's got the special effect that on your next turn, you can decrease another onboard monster by 2 levels to special summon them out. I do believe... No, not quite. But if we reset a little, so go back a little. So your hexes will reset back to reveal a special summon hex in the field. So I still got an opportunity to send another monster to the graveyard with hex's effect. So I could try a level 3 monster. So we'll just send any level 3. So now he's a level 3, level 7. Hey, you've got your Gungnir. So that's another very basic combo. Reset again. And these combos are going to get very situational and very dependent what you actually have in your hand. So let's say, for example, we have a medallion in our hand. So medallion's effect is add one ice barrier monster from your deck to your hand. So you can go for any level 4, but I would definitely go for Speaker. Oh, sorry, glare. Mainly for Speaker's effect that if you have a Ice Barrier monster in the field, you can special summon it from hand. Bish bash bosh, you have now got a level 9. Okay, so you have a level 9 monster using these three. So if we reset again, we'll need a 2, so we use Hex's effect to send a level 2 monster. Hey, we'll send Zuzhan out. Now you've got an 8/8. Doesn't work. That didn't work. Whoops. We'll rewind that. Not a Zurgen, we'll send a defender. So now X is now a level 3. And so you got 4, 4, 8, 11. You've now got your 0 dragon. And you know what? I'm actually going to double check the levels of these 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. And Trish is 9. Yeah. That's a little embarrassing. So that is a really quick rundown, but there are a number of different ways of getting some board presence. Again, it depends on what hands you got. I would say that's why I picked these cards, because they do allow you to special summon from the graveyard or potentially from your hands. The reason why I would definitely play a few copies of wins is there's a lot of disruption in this game. So a lot of your plays will get disrupted. You might get disrupted at this point, where you've only got 2 monsters in the field. You might get disrupted at this point. The more the merrier, but if you do, you can always try and protect yourself by using wins to send as much to the graveyard to special summon as many level 4 or lower, level 3 or lower, level 4 or lower monsters from your deck, ice barrier monsters. So I would definitely play a few of these guys. So that will prevent your opponent from attacking with level 4 or higher, or attacks higher than 1600. Sorry, and because they're both out. Pardon me again, jeez. So that's my reasoning for playing wins. Of course, you've got the what is it? If you do have freeze and change in your hand, that has 2 effects. So you can target 1 level 4 ice barrier in your graveyard and special summon it. But also, while you control 3 or more ice barrier monsters, they're unaffected by opponent's monster's effect that are special summoned from the extra deck. So it's not really an amazing ability, but you could get one of your discarded monsters from wins over the ice barrier back onto the field. And I wonder if we got a play with this. I mean, we could still discard from our hand to special summon another monster. The opportunities are quite endless. So, I mean, I wouldn't say endless to a certain degree, but you've got a number of different things. I've quickly gone over very quick examples of how to get to each of the levels, and you've got multiple opportunities to get into them. You have I mean, you've got freezing chains that likes a lot of monsters on the field in order to get protection. You've got some forms of destruction by General Raijo, and more importantly, Mirror of the Ice Barrier. It gets more effects depending on how many Ice Barrier monsters you got on the field. And you also got the trap card Terror Treasurer that likes more synchro monsters on the field. So even though this deck isn't game breaking or exciting, I find it interesting that I don't know, it just appeals to me in some sort of strange way, even though I wasn't looking forward to this deck being released. I just bought it just to have it sort of thing. But now that I've actually made a deck with it and I had a couple of plays of synchros, um, I kind of like it. I'll I might change my initial review of it and say if you want to get three of it, but only if you want to try something different, not because you want to compete. I'd say get three of them. I know that's contradictory, but if you're looking to compete, then no, this is definitely not a deck for that. And I'm sorry, there's a light glare going. I've just put these in sleeves and it's going like crazy. Um, so that's it for my mess of a combo video, my mess of a deck profile. Apologies for the shaking camera. This is the first time I've done something like this. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know. If you want me to improve in some sort of way, let me know. Is there anything I can improve upon? I won't mind giving more of these a shot. And I just shook the camera again, even though I said I shouldn't. I would like to revisit this freezing chains with some upgraded cards. Not upgraded to a meta standard, more of a this is the way I would play it sort of standard. Maybe mix in stuff like Ties of the Brethren, or even introduce like the old Gravity Bind card and maybe a Legendary Ocean, because I got that rocking around somewhere. So I hope you enjoyed the full video. Hope it wasn't too long, and I hope it wasn't too boring. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye bye.